Welcome, everybody. We are entering the grand finals here. The top cut. It's Dangerous to Go Alone, season 39. Are you excited, Gilga?
Oh, I'm more than excited. So many people, so many teams have fought their way to get to this final moment, right? We have Defiant Discharge versus Obsequious Omnivore. 5 rounds determine who is our. Is it season 39? Season 39, It's Dangerous to Go Alone champion.
Yes, and I'm super excited for this because we just watched Defiant Discharge. They have had a clean sweep so far in this tournament. But Obsequious Omnivores, on the other hand, I think they had a rough start. They lost the first round in prelims, but they have gotten back-to-back wins ever since.
It
So
sounds like
they'll be the ones to take down Defiant Discharge.
we will see sooner or later. It sounds like Obsequious Omnivore is the underdog in this scenario. Can they turn the tides, or will Defiant Discharge show how defiant they really are?
Oh. So again, Discharge, as we've seen, they've got shooters. They also have Lexi, who's been pulling out the E-leader the past few games. But the Omnivores, I only saw a little bit of their gameplay earlier, but I do believe they have a Tri-Slosher. It's pretty strong, as well as a Blaster, and of course Centricide, kind of a jack of all trades with the snipers, ballpoint, anything really.
Just as a quick reminder, Defiant Discharge has not lost a game this entire competition. They are definitely the team to beat in this finals competition.
So exciting. And our first map mode will be Clan Blitz on Humpback Pumptrack.
This is a map that they brought back for the season as well. Humpback Pumptrack is, going to be honest, one of my favorite maps. I like the look of it. I kind of like the I like the look of it. I'm going to be honest with you. Clan Blitz is going to be I want to say it's going to be a bit weird with how we've seen Defiant Discharge play. I can definitely see a very aggressive play trying to get towards the tower, but once again, I'm not exactly sure how it's going to play out. The last match was very tooth and nail, very last minute, if I can say that. So how this match will go is anybody's guess.
Yes, and we saw that the Omnivores, they have a couple of slosher players on their team, and this is a slosher-friendly map. So maybe Discharge will have a little bit of a hard time on this, specifically because it is Clan Blitz. It seemed like, as far as keeping their map control, they weren't quite as strong during the Clan Blitz game as they were during the other two. So we'll see. It's going to be pretty interesting. Have you played a lot on this map, Gilga?
I played a lot on 2. Like I said, I really do like the map. I think me playing Charger, I just kind of like sitting in the center, which is probably dangerous, but also still really fun to do.
Yeah, because if a team can get their Charger to be in mid, then you pretty much have like a full reach into all of the enemy's area. So maybe we'll see that from Discharge at least.
Just a quick reminder for anybody who has tuned in. First of all, you've missed a wonderful set of gameplay from all of our competitors, but this is It's Dangerous to Go Alone, our solo free agent tournament for all skill levels. Anybody can register. You can enter solo, and you can end up being one of the individuals in finals if you so choose. If you can get through our Swiss and our semifinals.
Yes, and something that we don't mention that much is there are different brackets. We usually watch the power bracket. We calculate an ELO for every player based off of how many times they've played in this tournament, their previous competitive experience, their previous win count, and their games and sets. And players get pre-placed into teams, into brackets, and then they play. And, you know, you could be in Courage bracket, Wisdom bracket, or Power bracket. And, yeah. We take all skill levels here. It's a wonderful place. Wonderful people.
I did forget that was I forgot there was a Splatfest today.
Yes. I forgot to see if maybe a couple of our players have had their Splatfest teas by accident. Oh, yes, we are receiving word that at least 3 players have forgotten their Splatfest teas. This is a PSA.
If you forgot your teas, please go to the center area of the city to grab your teas. These are limited time only for... How long is the Splatfest? It's like a day or two. Under 24 hours. Might ask, which team did you pick?
I picked Team Love.
See, I chose Money. Money's the gold one. You always have to go for the gold one. It is the best color.
Oh, you're a color chooser, I see.
I mean, it's random anyway. I gotta go for the best color.
This is one of my favorite color combinations of Splatfest.
It really is, honestly.
Yeah, I've played quite a bit, and so far I've enjoyed the visuals every game. The pink and the gold, the pink and the green, and then, you know, at the end of every match it's all pink, of course, you know.
I know the what is it? The choices have gotten a bit more neutral, I'll say. I know for me, when we had the chocolate one, I definitely chose dark chocolate all the way. But I think there was an overwhelming amount of people who chose one over the other. I can't remember which one though. Was it white chocolate? Okay. It looks like we're about to get ready for our match, so just give us a quick second to start that up.
And I will visualize again this E-leader in the middle of the map. This is what I want to see here. Just running the show.
Taking no prisoners.
That's
as we start in Clan Blitz, first match of the grand finals.
My dreams are crushed. No E-leader.
No E-leader.
You can go home. Now, Lexi on a ballpoint is just as scary, just as deadly. And now, starting off, it's a pretty interesting spread from Discharge, and they have lost 2 players already. Ferrari on the Tri-Slosher, finding as many picks as possible. And I think we have Cactus here on the N-Zap. They've already used Tacticooler.
It looks like it is a 4-1 advantage on... Which one's the yellow? Defiant Discharge aside as they slowly try and gain advantage. Lexi
Unlike
with that ball
match,
point.
Yes, Lexi has found her way into mid, and unlike last match, Discharge decided that they can break the basket very quickly within the first minute. They just proved that they can.
A blessing and a curse as they gain the lead, but they get that penalty. If the Omnivores can go and take advantage, it might be just a little bit harder for them to regain that advantage.
Yeah, and here we have Toes using the coverage from his teammates Inkjet to break the basket. They've taken the lead with just a couple of clams so far, but the Omnivores look like they're trying to keep the space for a couple more clams, but they are not able to.
This just shows how even this match is. It's anybody's game at the current moment as it goes back to neutral. Neither team has barely any clams on their name, as the Inkjet comes out by Lexi as she splats one
Standby
person.
For 2? No. Yeah. But Cactus with a great follow-up here. Discharge really showing us that they can keep up the aggression from the first minute of this game. But 2 players are down for the Omnivores. Make that 3.
As it is a advantage on Discharge's side, they need to go and push up in order for them to regain that advantage. If Inkjet gets brought out for a second time, that's really quick.
It is, and they were able to get the Tacticooler down right before Lexi popped the Inkjet, which is a beautiful strategy, because if something happens to the Inkjet, they can respawn, be back, helping this push.
It looked like Discharge was trying to go for that push, but was stopped by Obsequious Omnivores as they try and turn it around. It's still 71 to 80, anybody's game. It looks like Discharge needs to be... They're already as aggressive as they can be. As they take 3 down, it's currently 4-1. Lexi with the Inkjet a 3rd time, as well as... I believe that might have been an Inksuga, but I'm not exactly sure.
Yeah, I think it was. There hasn't been a Tacticooler yet. The NZAP is carrying their clams, but they do have a lot of follow-up clams. 2 power
Could
clams.
This be the push that they need? Will Omnivore stop said push as Discharge gains about 60 points there, bringing it from
They were able to get all 3 of those power clams in.
A gigantic push. Omnivore has work to do if they're going to want to take the first game.
Yes, Omnivore has been doing a great job at keeping a lot of ink on the ground. So I feel like if they keep that up, we saw they are capable of taking the lead, and if they coordinate a little bit, keep an eye on Lexi Inkjet status, keep an eye on their NZAP's Tacticooler status, I think that the Omnivores could do some damage here.
As 1 minute passes, the Defiant Ooh, I take that back. Ferrari taking down two individuals, trying to gain as much advantage as they can to keep that lead. Or keep to try and regain that lead.
Yes, and here we have a Tacticooler with an Inkjet battle, but Lexi was able to find two
people.
The mid-air Inkjet snipe on the other Inkjet. That was amazing. We're in the within the final 30 seconds here, and Discharge is really trying to make sure that the Omnivores don't really have any legs left to stand on.
Can Omnivores find the last minute push that they need to make this turnaround? They have 10 seconds left. Tacticooler gets dropped down. They have more speed. They have more... this might be the push that they need. It looks like...
They're trying to get the ink down, make sure that their Slosher and Blaster have room to work. If they can avoid this Booyah and make a little space, they might be able to break this basket.
But they are running out of time. They need to get... As the clam gets... oh, my bad. As there is a wipeout on the Omnivore side, this first match goes to Defiant Discharge. I was going to say that it looks like they were able to push it, but it was just barely there.
Yes, it was. I thought that they were going to break that basket in overtime. I saw the wave breaker went down. They had another Inkjet. But Discharge, it's like they put up a wall right there, and I said, no, 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 you don't.
I was ready for it. There was a lot of things like that last round. It just looks like Defiant Discharge was able to stand their ground and make sure that their win was guaranteed.
Yes, and here we see POV Lexi trying to protect her teammates, stop any flanks, but the blaster on Omnivore was doing a great job. I think they just got a triple here. And Lexi died on the recall from her Inkjet.
Both teams showing exactly why they're in grand finals. Advantages on both sides, 3-1, 1-3. And as you can see, the Omnivores had a pretty good pushback after Discharge's first push. Lexi with the Inkjet just trying to take names.
Yes, but not prisoners, remember.
Not prisoners.
Names only.
Names only.
Yes. Yeah, well, you know, it was really interesting with this first game. I really think that the Omnivores have kind of been finding out how each other will play. You know, they are all free agents. They may not have ever played together before. But, you know, after I learned that they lost their first set in prelims, but they've gotten steady straight wins ever since, I'm thinking they might be the type that learn very quickly, they might be adapting, and they could be plotting right now how they're going to win this Wahoo World Zones against Discharge.
And if that's as you say, then we're gonna have a very interesting game too, and maybe for the rest of the match, because this one was very close, minus that really big push.
Okay,
As
look at our loadout.
there's
Let's
my
see
charger.
back on the E-leader. Oh, the Expo, the Rapid. We kept the Tri-Slosher and the N-Zap. So it looks like they've got support, they've got ink on the side of the Omnivores, and they have the chip damage, they've got zone control. I really feel like they did a great job picking the weapons for this mode, for the map, and hopefully for each other too.
I might be wrong a little bit, but it looks like Omnivores is going for something a bit more aggressive to maybe combat the aggressiveness of Defiant Discharge. It looks like Defiant Discharge is making quick work of the mid as they take control. 72 to 94 is the current score.
Yes, and the Omnivores have been pushed back. It's gonna slow them down quite a bit, the fact that they in effect got wiped in the beginning after they got to 94, but they do already have a cooler. It looks like they've got their inkjet online. Beautiful shot from the inkjet, taking out the backliner. That's going to give the other players a chance to get to the zone, and they do get the cap.
I was just going to say, Omnivore needs to be a lot more aggressive during this match if they're going to want to take control. The Discharge is showing exactly why they were undefeated during the entire prelim. If they can just get into point and keep it for as long, well, I guess that's how the mode works. But to do so is a very hard feat, as Discharge is solidified in their positioning.
Yes, they are. But we might see the zone flip here. Yes, we do. And then Inkjet comes out for the Omnivores. They are really trying to keep Lexi on their toes during this game.
It looks like Omnivores have tried to. I was going to say they were solidifying their position in middle, and they were slowly getting back advantage. It was a good push, honestly. As it keeps going, I shouldn't count them out just yet.
Yeah, I think they might have had tactical, so they respawned quick. They jumped right back into the mid to keep this paint on the ground.
It's a 3-4 advantage, and all Omnivores need to do is, well, get back the middle first. It seems like they've lost control.
Yes, but they are doing a great job at recapping it. Oh, a little bit of maybe an early push against that crab just then. Again, unnecessary death for that Tri-Slosher. But I don't think it's gonna slow down the Omnivores too much. Really all they need is to catch Discharge on the back foot, you know, going a little too far forward so that they can punish them for their aggression that they've had up until this point.
Absolutely correct. And it looks like that's what they were doing, choking up past middle to try and combat them before they could try and paint. And it looks like it seems to be working, as it's currently 30-18. They just need to hold it for a couple more seconds. It's currently 3-2. Hopefully they can hold it. 19, 18, and they lose them, and they gain the lead. If they can hold on to it, they could be able to turn the tides and make this a 1-1.
Beautifully timed tri-strikes here. Even though they were down 2 players, it was the Rapid and the Explo combo with the special ready at the end, the Omnivores tying it up, taking a game off of the team that has not lost one game.
This must be a huge morale boost for the Omnivores, as they show that they are here to play. They're not here to mess around, and hopefully we can see a lot more of that in the next match. Flounder Heights at Rainmaker.
Yes, it
Uh,
was a strong open we see here from the Omnivores. It looked like they were going to be able to keep control of the zone, but once the Explo went down, it seems like that's when Discharge was able to paint the zone and start ticking down their counter.
this beginning part was definitely a big back and forth. Both teams taking out each other in drastic ways. I believe there was two different wipeouts, or not wipeouts, but three people losing people in between rounds. But Omnivore was just able to just try and there was a big lead in Discharge's favor for most of the match, because they were very aggressive and very solidified in their position and what they were doing.
Yeah, and they even went all the way up into Omnivore's plat. I think Lexi was up on their plat, just pointed at their small ramp entry points, staring them down, shining that laser in their eye. But the Omnivores, they really stepped it up.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. This is definitely one of those shake it off, let's get the next match in type scenarios, where they said, okay, we know what we're doing. We got the jitters out. This is grand finals. We need to go ahead and shape up. And shape up they did.
And so our next map mode is going to be Rainmaker on Flounder, which, this should come as a surprise to nobody, is one of my favorite map mode combos.
As we get into it, let's see what the loadout looks like. This looks a bit similar to round one on Discharge's side. It looks like Omnivore's shaking it up again.
Yep, Ferrari kept the tri-slosher, but now they have swapped the NZAP for a sloshing machine. It's a pretty bold choice, but it is a great choice on this map.
I believe I remember hearing that. I remember hearing during the preliminaries that a lot of teams don't prefer like shooters and stuff like that, but you see a couple of them here as Defiant Discharge takes the lead. They currently have the Rainmaker at the current moment in time.
Yes, but the Rainmaker is in trouble and the Rainmaker does go down. 2 players down on Team Discharge. Here we see Omnivores. Look at this, they have so much ink all down the ramp. They tried to establish a strong position here to say, we're not just going to take this checkpoint, we're setting up for what's beyond the checkpoint.
It's looking like Defiant Discharge's aggressiveness is kind of backfired, as Omnivore is currently in the lead by 30. If they can keep this up much better, make sure that Discharge does not continue their aggression, then they can win game 3. I say as Lexi splats one of the Omnivores, making it a 4-2 scenario on advantage to Discharge.
Yes, but we do see a Booyah in play. He's going to stall the Rainmaker a little bit. Now they're left with just the Blaster, but the Blaster takes out 2! That's amazing. Here Ferrari doing a great job defending the ramp. Making sure that Discharge cannot do what the Omnivores did in their first push. They cannot push up their ramp, they can't put ink down. I guess on this map, that could be the end if you let the enemy get too much ink down.
I'll be honest with you, there's a lot going on here. It just looks like anybody's game, honestly, as it's 61-65. The Rainmaker is currently in which one is that? Looks closer to Defiant Discharge side, right?
That's the Omnivores checkpoint.
Omnivores checkpoint. Thank you very much.
Yeah, they tried to do a sneaky, cheeky checkpoint grab, but the Omnivores stopped them.
But they grab the Rainmaker right back and just continue on this onslaught. They're very aggressive in how they play, as they take 2 down. It's currently 3-2, advantage on Discharge.
Yeah, but something that's really interesting about this game so far is that even if one of the teams goes down 2 players or 3 players, as we've seen both sides, someone is still alive, and that person will take down the Rainmaker somehow.
It's just knowing your priorities, I guess. It's knowing that you need to stop that push if in any means necessary.
Yes. Unfortunately, the Omnivores lost, I think, 2 or 3 players at that moment. So Discharge was able to squeak out a few more points. They're now at 45, but they are down 2. I believe teams have a booyah ready.
It looks like both teams have their specials out. Omnivore more so, as 3 up the barrier, as well as it looks like the sloshing machine's going to hold their special for a second.
Well, the Omnivores lost a couple players. Ferrari doing the best they can to try to push up this ramp to get some paint down, keep the players from Discharge in their base, like how they did on the first push. The Inkjet's here. Hopefully this Inkjet gets some support. Looks like Toes is trying to. They lost their Rainmaker though.
We have 10 seconds left on the clock, as we see that Discharge may win this, except Omnivores have the Rainmaker. They have 6 seconds plus overtime to try and make a push. If they can get the 36 lead, and that's game last minute. Omnivore taking the lead serves them. I apologize. I had written them out last second, and they showed me up.
That was amazing.
Honestly, it's one of those last minute turnarounds that I honestly like seeing when it comes to these matches. It seems we've seen like 2 or 3 of those in the finals.
Oh yes. That was such a nice pulling together of pretty much all the resources that they possibly had in those last seconds. Here we see the first 30 seconds of the game. It seemed like Discharge started off really strong here until they lost a couple players.
That is true, but they had a really decent push there. Omnivore definitely had that lead in the beginning, but as you'll see in the very soon, that it was pretty much neck and neck towards the end. It's one of those things where it's just that big back and forth. One team ends up being able to push something through, and then it just takes one big push to then change the tides.
Yes. And just keeping track of, what your teammates are doing, what your teammates need. In this case, on this map mode, like I was saying before, making sure that there's ink ahead of where the Rainmaker needs to be, down this ramp in this courtyard. The Omnivores really did, I think, a better job at doing that the entire match. And then it was Discharge that kind of tried to squeeze the lead a couple of times, but it wasn't as controlled as the Omnivores.
Oh yeah, no, the Omnivores definitely are now, I like to say they're locked in, they're synced in, they know what they're doing, and they're ready to go ahead and take this last round actually. If they win this next match, Undertow Spillway at Tower Control, then they win the entire set and they will be our 39th season champions.
Yes. Undertow Tower Control. I love this map mode.
Is it your favorite map mode?
No, it's not one of my favorites.
Really? Okay.
contrary to popular belief, but it's up there. It's the only thing that I don't enjoy is the second checkpoint on
Second
this
check.
map. Because you come right up against the enemy team's grates, and they can just, if they have sloshers or rollers or anything like that that can kind of just spill ink over the edge, that second checkpoint is such a deadly area.
Really big hurdle
Yes.
to get through. As we go on game 3, it looks like, once again, it looks like Discharge not really changing their comp too much. Or at least I don't think so.
I do believe we see Lexi back on the E-leader.
You love to see it.
I do, yes. Me and the figurative you, I hope. Everyone loves to see it.
You gotta make clips for the Twitch chat.
Yes.
Oh.
A nicely timed inkjet, but they are taken out. Was that Lexi on the E-leader, I believe, took out that inkjet.
Discharge as aggressive as possible, trying to get as many points as possible, taking lead. They still have a lead, currently 30-0.
Yeah, this is just when you think that Discharge already showed us how much aggression they can put forward, how fast they can push for the lead. It's like they kicked it into another gear.
This is the third checkpoint you were talking about. Being so close to enemy spawn is going to be really hard to try and push that into goal, but it doesn't look like it's too hard for Discharge as they immediately, quickly get their game in. It's currently 2-2, and it is time for the all-fabled Game 5. It's currently 2-2. This last game will determine who will be our 39th season champion. Honestly, that was really impressive in terms of Discharge. They knew exactly what they were coming for, and I know I've probably said that for the last couple of matches, but this one just shows solidified that they were not here to play around. They've been undefeated for the past how many matches? Yeah. 5 rounds they've been here. Thank you. And they were sure not going to make this match any different.
Yeah, it's like they had specials ready to counter anything that the Omnivores were trying to do before they even did it. So our final game, it has come down to, in this season of It's Dangerous to Go Alone. But hopefully, losing this tower control doesn't stop the Omnivores from this momentum they were building up. Coming up on Barnacle and Dime, Clam Blitz. What do you think we're gonna see here?
If the first round was any indication, this last match is going to be a nail biter. The first round, it was anybody's game up towards the last moment, right? And honestly, with how aggressive, what we see here, I think, is Defiant Discharge's aggressiveness with Omnivores' cautious but definitive strategy, I guess you can say, where they definitely try to find the optimal opportunity to go and recoup that that slight loss with how aggressive Discharge is in, and in the end, it works in their favor more than not.
Yes, it does, and I feel like every game, like you said, has been a nail biter, but at this, like, I have no nails left.
None of them. All you have is trying to hammer down this win.
So Barnacle and Dime, it's a new map. So that's another interesting element here, with it being our final game in such a close set, 2-2. I feel like anything can happen here.
Ooh, that's new. I think Omnivore brought out a ballpoint for this round. Everything else seems pretty solid except the blaster on their side as well. Lexi still with the sniper, and shooters on their side. It is immediate in the middle as they are currently in fire.
Yes, I don't know if everyone was able to catch that at the beginning. In those first few seconds, Discharge had so many clams. It's like they snatched up as many clams as possible, but once their shot got taken out, they lost like half of their clams. And now it seems like it's turning into almost a little bit of a free-for-all. But here we have Ferrari doing the best that they can to keep Discharge off of their plat.
It's looking like Omnivores is gaining advantage as they splat one person on Discharge's side, and they have the advantage in clams as Toes has a clam on their person. It looks like they're going to try and go for something soon. As they slowly regain special, there's one special on Omnivore's side as Centricide decides to
Wow.
grab Inkjet as they get splatted
Lexi
immediately.
does not miss a chance to go for those Inkjets. I don't know what it is, but Inkjets are not safe with Lexi on the E-leader.
You can't be in the air, you can't move in the air.
Yes. And something else that's interesting is that I believe we see that Omnivores has changed their Tri-Slosher. Now they have double the attack to cooler. And so maybe that plays into why it seems like we're seeing such a trading of lives here in this first 2 minutes. Omnivores drawing the first blood of the game. They break the basket. They've gotten a few clams in. It looks like they've sent someone off to collect some more clams. Down to 59 already.
They're making good use
And
of their
they've got
push,
more
trying to bring it as
clams.
low as possible. Oh,
It's
my
just
bad,
the
my bad.
end zap. Toes making a pretty nice retreat. And he built up another power clam in the meantime.
Discharge needs to make a push right back, but possibly they need to make a push right back as Omnivore is trying to re-solidify that lead with 18 clams on the side. Discharge needs to show that aggressiveness they've shown in the past couple of matches in order to try and contest how aggressive Omnivore is currently. That double tentacle you mentioned originally might be attributed to how hard they're pushing, as Discharge also gains a clam. It's just a matter of who can throw it in first, as Ferrari gets splatted on Omnivore's side. It's currently 3-4. There's a lot going on here.
Yeah, and the Booyah's already been used for Discharge. Omnivore's got a bubble up. I believe they have an Inkjet online, so they might be waiting for a juice. Attack the cooler to go up, which we do see the cooler go up. We see the Inkjet. Omnivore's trying to take some ground here.
It looks like Omnivore is able to hold their ground and still have advantage, as it's currently 3-3 on either side. It's still anyone's game. All it really takes is one big push, as we've seen before. Cactus getting out of the way to try and maybe mitigate or save whatever they have, as currently it's 4-3 advantage to, I lied, 3-3 advantage to anybody. With 1 minute left, this determines who wins this season, and both teams are at a scramble to try and gain that small little edge.
Yes, but 3 players go down on Discharge, and so this might be Omnivore's moment to build up this momentum and close this game down. Look at this coverage for the Omnivores. The whole map is blue. They're using Tacticooler. They had a bubble, but they used an Inkjet. They weren't able to find any picks with it, it looks like.
If you look at it, it looks like Discharge has 2 clams. It's just one's in the background. If they can just go in and push it, they can get 60, and a couple more clams, they can turn this completely around.
That is
They
true.
have 5 seconds to go. They need to be able to push this now.
Players.
Did they?
Yes, it is just Lexi. They have respawns now, but Ferrari is not having it. Omnivores, they're trying to take their claim.
This can be an upset.
Champions. It's like Discharge can't get out of their base at this point. The entire map is blue.
And that is the game, ladies and gentlemen.
That's it. How do you defeat the undefeated Defiant Discharge? You send the Obsequious Omnivores. The Omnivores take the set 3-2 in the final game of Grand Finals, and it's Dangerous to Go Alone Season 39. Congratulations! That was an amazing Grand Finals.
Yeah, no, I loved every moment of it. Each one had me on the edge of my seat wondering how, not even who's going to win, but how are they going to turn around? It seemed like you couldn't really count either side out until the last couple of seconds, and even then, overtime showed you that no, you can't count them out even then.
Yes, exactly. It's like, just when you think there's no chance for overtime, both teams in their legacy in this season, they found a way to make it happen. And so now we are going to have, I believe, our analysts. Oh, not yet. Now
Well,
we're
no,
going
because we're gonna have everybody in, right? What's up, y'all?
Right.
I was gonna say we're gonna have our analysts join us here at our tiny desk.
It's
As
quite
you can
cramped
see,
here.
I've made space. I've joined our plushie mascot. I call it Panda on the plush corner.
There's enough room for all of us. We fit perfectly fine.
All right, but anyways, going into this first game, DD did take this first game, but it was very back and forth during the opening rounds. We saw that on the side of Defiant Discharge, they did forego the E leader here, thinking that the ballpoint probably was a better backline pick than the E leader. But we see this triple power clam score, and we actually saw whoever scored that last clam, Squid rolled through, parried like 2 shots, and then got that score into the basket as well.
That was insane. We saw a lot of the Defiant Discharge doing good follow-ups on with their teammates. Like the Inkjet would get a few do a little bit of damage on some people on the enemy team, and then their teammates would then follow up and make sure to get those kills. The Defiant Discharge kept a lot of paint on the ground as well.
Yeah, no, when I looking at Discharge, they were very aggressive towards in the very beginning of the round. From what it looked like, all Omnivore needed to do was kind of gas them out until they could then kind of gain and secure that lead. Once it was endgame for Discharge, it seemed like it was just a bit harder for them to try and regain that control.
Yeah, the Explo putting out a lot of paint here, and the Rapid Blaster being able to poke up that top right ledge, just being able to make sure no one from Defiant Discharge can really just drop for free without taking out at 1 or 2, but they just never got that advantage towards the end of the game.
Yeah, I was super impressed with the Omnivores in the Flat Zone game.
They also had two good painting specials, the Ink Storm, and then the triple Ink Strike was used a little bit for painting as well, and it was fun to see that, especially like like we said, the Explo. It's really good on Splat Zone's maps, but needs to be worked around really well, and I think the Omnivores did a good job with that.
The intense pressure of the Omnivores to perform as well. Discharge is not losing a single match up until the grand finals, and it what's the word? It turns out they were able to deliver from the gate of going 3-2 to the last moment.
Yeah, but going into this next game on Rainmaker Flounder, personally, I don't love this map mode because as the defenders, you're defending from low ground to high ground, which gives the attackers a really strong advantage where they can just keep shooting from that top of the roofs while the defenders really have to climb up, and that made it pretty tough for Defiant Discharge to really make a push until towards the middle of this game. We saw that the Omnivores got that checkpoint first because of that aggression they had early on.
Yeah, I feel like Discharge probably wanted to take the right checkpoint because I think it gives you like way more control if you take that right side because you're staring down the ramp. But in the end, it's like they just took like, well, we have to get a checkpoint because then we can start getting more points eventually. But I think doing that kind of left them in a pickle, even though they were able to keep the lead for I think like a minute at least.
Going on to this next game, Discharge shows how strong they could be when they're all in alignment of what they need to do. Completely wrecking shop as they this was game 4, I believe, making sure that they know who was in charge that round.
Yeah, going into this last game, both teams know this is game point. This really shows who has the nerves to win. It doesn't matter what the score was before, what was happening before. This last game will determine who wins this set. And we could just see from the beginning, from the get-go, the Omnivores knew that just being as aggressive as they could with the double tacticooler comp, but also Defiant Discharge having that E-leader slows down the gameplay for them, while on the side of the Omnivores, they could just keep running in with the cooler.
Yeah, like we were
that's
saying,
a
as
good
we were
point.
saying earlier, the Omnivores were taking their time learning and adapting to the teams that they were fighting, and this is what they did, and they figured out a good way to do that with the double coolers, and it worked out in the end.
Yeah, but that is the end of this tournament from us. Congratulations to the Obsequious Omnivores and Defiant Discharge. They had a very good chance of winning. Although they didn't win today, I think, you know, they had this was an amazing run from them, being undefeated until grand finals. But we should sign it off here. Let's throw it to our commentators first. Tao Panda, where can they find you?
They can find me here and there, Tao Panda on Discord, the Tao Panda, and various other media like Twitter, YouTube, Twitch. What about you, Gilga?
You see it on the screen. Ayo, it's Gilga. That's my Twitter. Sometimes I stream, sometimes I don't, but if you see me, you see me. What about our analysis team? Where can we find you?
I'll go first. You guys, I'm just more around Discord in the Splatoon competitive servers, just known as Kirby or 52 Kirby's.
Yeah, and everyone can find me either on Twitter or Twitch at We Like Rice. It's all one word. But yeah, that'll be the end of today's stream. And thank you to everyone who was here watching, either who just popped in last minute here and there, or whoever was here the whole time. We really appreciate your time here.
Yeah, and it was fun coming to watch and analyzing everything. It was great listening.
Well, thank you for tuning in for season 39. We hope to catch you again, and if you weren't a competitor this time, hopefully you will join us. It is thrilling, it is fun. Have a good day, everybody.